Welcome back, folks, to Free My Pain Now with Dr. Matt Doduro. And for this episode, we have returning Dr. Joseph Cipriano. Thanks so much, Joe, again, for staying with us and doing a couple episodes.
Of course.
So we left off, if for some of our listeners who don't know, Dr. Cipriano is an internet sensation. He's built a wonderful practice from using your videos of patients that are getting adjusted in your office.
Yes.
You posted them on YouTube. You started the channel. Give a shout out to your channel so people can.
My channel on YouTube is my name, Dr. Joseph Cipriano, DC at the end. Yes, we're based out of Greenville, South Carolina. And you know how you, in the previous episode, how you talked about getting the patient testimonies?
Yes.
Basically, I've taken patient testimonies and put it to a new level. Patients now can see the process of getting a chiropractic adjustment. Granted, I don't always show the orthopedic tests and things like that I do beforehand, but they'll see the process of a full body adjustment that I do, the joints from head all the way down to toe, and then also me using the Y strap as well as the decompression device.
The long axis distraction.
Yes.
And that's what a lot of patients, I think, come for.
Correct.
Right? Because you have perfected that move.
Yes.
And I was able to receive it. And I'll tell you what, it is like nothing you can describe. I mean, the amount of pressure and the weight that comes off your body from it. I mean, obviously we're organisms that are working within gravity, and over time, your body wears down. And there are limitations to how our bodies and joints work, right? So if you injure an area and there is abnormal motion or movement, we called it a mechanical stress in the first episode.
Yes.
And that's like taking your index finger and pressing it back. That's an issue. If you walk around with that, like your first thought, we talked about it, you go into your primary care physician, they write a prescription.
Yep.
Here's some anti-inflammatories and some soma or a pain pill. How does that drug know to go right to that area that's got the pinch or the mechanical stress?
It doesn't.
It doesn't. There's not like this smart system.
Smart pill.
There's not a smart pill yet. I mean, they're going to come up with one. But to know to go right there, we said 97% of all mechanical stresses to the spine are usually, 97% of all back pain is from a mechanical stress. The other 3% were fractures, tumors, cancers. So if we're able to remove that mechanical stress, and that chiropractic is that mechanical solution, then we allow the body to heal and go on.
Correct.
But again, you said it perfectly. In the algorithm of healthcare and triaging a patient, you should go from less invasive to more invasive.
Correct. Of course. Because once you do that most invasive technique, such as surgery, now
there's no going back.
There's no going back. That's why I actually have patients where I have to refuse care just because, if they come in with a cervical fusion or some type of, metal hardware in their body, you can't make adjustments at that segment because, one, I don't want to be liable if I was to, make that adjustment and then something happened and then they have to go back under surgery. So
let's go over some wonderful points. I mean, we have malpractice.
Correct.
And I carry 1 million, 3 million. Just so people know, I mean, insurance companies have actuaries. They know the numbers, right? You're not going to fool an insurance company. So my malpractice rates are lower than my car insurance for my teenage daughters. So I'm paying about $800 per year for 1 million, 3 million.
Yes.
Right? And I'm sure yours is pretty close.
It's, I think, maybe $1,000 for the entire year.
And right. So now, if we were actually injuring people, don't you think that the actuaries that work for these multi-million-dollar insurance companies would have our rates higher?
Of course they would. Look at a surgeon or any medical doctor out there, an anesthesiologist.
Yeah, they're $40,000 a year malpractice. And we have anesthesiologists on our staff, so I know. OBGYN, I think, is the second highest.
Okay.
Anesthesiologist is first. But, it's like if the body isn't going to move, we know it. It's not. You're not going to put a force into an area or a joint that is not working properly. I mean, and your body knows those limitations.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's pretty cool. Let's talk about, you've had, in some cases, some of your adjustments on YouTube have had 9 to 10 million, maybe
Yes. So
views.
I mean, I personally, I have a video with, I think it's a little over 12 million views just on one single video. And it was of a video of a younger girl. She was in her 30s, but she's been living with 14 years of back pain. She's seen, other healthcare professionals. She's
Doctor after doctor after doctor.
no change, no change at all. And it was literally one adjustment. And trust me, I get a lot of chiropractors out there that say, how can one adjustment change anything? But especially like when you finally remove pressure off of that nerve and allow the body to heal and function as it's intended. I mean, that's been the
Just get out of the way and let the body heal.
Yeah.
I mean, let's not forget the body is a self-healing, self-maintaining,
Yes.
self-regulating organism. And most of the time we have everything we need, right? I mean, we
Correct.
have all our different hormones and things that when you eat a piece of cake and what happens to, your body releases insulin to break down those carbohydrates and sugar. I mean, that happens without us thinking about it.
Exactly.
And I tell my patients, I was like, when we're running and we get hot, how does our body cool down?
Sweats.
It sweats. When we're cold, what happens?
You're shivering.
It's shiver. That's your body's way to keep blood flowing. And we have this saying, and I've said it a couple times, wherever you have pain in the body, there is poor blood circulation to that area. It's either been injured or damaged, or it's just not functioning properly.
Correct.
So when we're able to open up those discs and those different joints into certain areas, you're allowing that pressure to come off and just get out of the way and let the body work the way it's supposed to.
Yep.
So the one, I mean, some of these people have never been to chiropractors before, right? They're
50% of my patients are first-time chiropractic patients.
wow.
I mean, and my patients, you got to realize, I'm in Little Greenville, South Carolina. I have patients that have traveled from Guam, from Russia, from Israel, from Italy. I think I've hit almost every country in South America. And these are not patients that are just that's their ethnicity. They physically, with the passport, have flown to Greenville just to see me for an appointment.
You're a lot like Clarence Gonstead. Remember him? So Dr. Gonstead, who started the Gonstead program, he had his own airfield, right, where people would fly right in.
Yep.
So, I mean, that's pretty cool that people are making those type of treks or pilgrimages to come see you and get a feel from those healing hands. I mean, that's what it comes down to.
Correct. With doing that Y strap, I know a lot of people see it and they're, it's not your typical everyday type of adjustment. It really isn't. Obviously, now obviously, like you knew of the Y strap and like the Y axis type of decompression. And there are a lot of chiropractors out there that do a manual decompression, with using their hands.
Dr. Mark Daniel, you met today, 30-year chiropractor in one of our clinics.
Correct. And, where you'll kind of grasp at the base of the occiput, the other hand is under the chin, and you're doing that Y-axis traction.
Traction move, yep.
So the technique itself has been around for
hundreds of years.
Correct.
I mean, people, I sent you that Joe Rogan episode because, Joe Rogan came out and had some bad claims against chiropractic. I mean, he doesn't really think that we're validated as a profession. Obviously, we went through 3 years and 9 months of school. We got a doctorate of chiropractic, not medicine. We're not physicians. We are practitioners. And again, I think that we need to get rid of some of these misconceptions about chiropractic. And this is if it wasn't for chiropractic, I'd probably been disabled 4 different times in my lifetime. And I can't imagine what my life would be without having those type of services.
Of course. I mean, I know your story because you came to the office. So I know all your sports injuries and whatnot. But there are so many patients out there in the world that, they have traumatic injuries and they think like that's it. They've been to medical doctors. They're on pain medications. I mean, we all know about the entire opioid crisis that has been going on.
Sure.
And now you have even medical doctors that are pulling back from those patients with giving them pain medication or they were even getting for multiple years. And it's
Listen, prescription, this is a perfect segue to what we're going to talk about in the next episode. But, prescription drug overdoses we're losing 1,000 people per week in this country. It's no joke. I mean, we are losing the war on drugs. And for some reason, you look at the aviation industry, they've had 1 death in 9 years. They will change all of their systems and protocols. They will ground, airplanes because of issues. And, I don't see that in the medical industry right now. They just think that's the cost of war, right?
Yep.
And so, we need more docs like you that can come out there and create mechanical solutions to these mechanical problems. Again, 97% of back pain is related to that mechanical stress. So we offer that solution. In our next episode, we're going to be talking about a recent recall on blood pressure medicine. This is crazy. And also Zantac, which is for heartburn. And there's certain types of chemicals in there that are carcinogenic. So, blood pressure medicine, helping ease the pain of high blood pressure through death is going to be their new line, the tagline. So we'll chat about that in our next episode. And Dr. Joe will be with us as well. Welcome back to Free My Pain Now with Dr. Matt DeDuro and our special guest, Dr. Joseph Cipriano from Greenville, South Carolina. His station on his YouTube channel is, go ahead.
Dr. Joseph Cipriano, DC.
Well, we're going to help you get to 1 million subscribers by the end of this month, okay? So, but we were talking about this recall, and this was in the USA Today just on Friday, September 20th, and it talked about these blood pressure medicines, right? And several blood pressure medicines have been recalled. The makers of losartan has voluntarily pulled off the blood pressure medicine off the market because of a cancer-causing ingredient found in the medication. Wait a second. Why didn't we know about this? According to the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, the company is recalling the lots of losartan products that contain N-methyl nitrosobutyric acid. Okay, the acronym is NMBA. So I can't tell you how many of my patients are on this blood pressure medicine. It's also in Zantac, which, if you're getting heartburn every day, that's your body's way of telling you there's something wrong.
Correct.
And if you keep taking a pill for that ill, you're not really fixing anything.
Not at all. You're just giving yourself an excuse to keep eating more because now I can just take this pill and it'll get rid of this heartburn. But instead of taking that pill, you should be looking at the fact that why don't I change what I'm eating and then I won't get that heartburn?
The thing that I love about chiropractic, and we have a philosophy, right? There's 3 parts to it. There is the science, there is the art of the manipulation, and finally it's the philosophy. Like, why do we do things? And, we want to get, for 100 years, I've heard chiropractors say, we want to get to the true source. And I go to these different seminars all over the country, and now medical doctors and naturopaths are like, we want to get to the source of this issue. Like they're stealing our tagline. But really, like, why are you getting that heartburn? Or why is your blood pressure going? Why are you getting high blood pressure? A perfect example for a lot of my listeners that are over 40, when you get high blood pressure, it's usually an autonomic neuropathy. Well, wait a second. What is that, doc? Well, that is where your innervation to your arteries, every time your heart pumps, your arteries are creating a peristalsis type motion to help pump that blood throughout our body. And remember, we've got 60,000 miles of arteries, veins, and capillaries. If we took those out, we could wrap them around the world, not once, but twice and a little more. So we have all these arteries, and your blood is constantly pumping, right? Your heart is working.
Yep.
So as you lose that flexibility in the arteries pump oxygenated blood away from the heart. As you lose that flexibility as you get older and they become more rigid, guess what? The heart has to
Work harder.
step up a bit.
Yep.
And so that's where the high blood pressure comes on. I mean, I believe all of our patients that come through our clinic, we are screened for that. And we also recommend, instead of blood pressure medicine, we use L-arginine, which is a heart healthy supplement that helps create flexibility. And Dr. Ignazio, this gentleman that discovered it in 1998, he won the Nobel Prize for it. And it's really helping release what's called nitric oxide and allows your arteries to vasodilate. So again, get to the source of it. What is the issue?
Yeah.
The food and heartburn. I mean,
Yeah, we all have patients like that. I know that you also have patients that come in and literally it's a list of medications. And I'm not gonna lie, majority of the time I see this list and like my mind's blown. And I some of them I can't even pronounce the names because I've just never even heard of them. It's
Mhm.
crazy. I mean, you have your basics that you're accustomed to seeing, but then I'll go through with patients and I'll be like, well, what are you on this one for? What are you on this one for? And it's I take this, to deal with heartburn, and then I have to take this to deal with this side effect, and then I take this medication to deal with this side effect. And I'm just sitting here like thinking in my head, like, oh my gosh, how can you remember to take like as funny as it is, like my grandparents with that little pill case with the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, like, and you literally have to go through and take the amount of pills and at certain times of the day when you could think about a healthy diet, movement, active lifestyle,
the right foods.
the right.
You are
That's-
what you eat.
Yes.
And you are what your food eats. So you
Yes.
have to know even what's being sprayed. We did a big segment with Dr. Michael Carter about that. And I mean, it's sad, but again, a pill for an ill. And I read a stat recently that the average American is on 11 different prescription drugs. And a lot of times they don't know why. They're like, well, the doctor told me. Cholesterol medicine is a perfect example. If cholesterol was causing plaque in our arteries, then every Eskimo, in the early 1900s would have had heart disease. They had a high diet in fat and blubber,
Yeah.
and they just don't have it. They actually have a lower than continental United States citizens. So again, it is about inflammation in your body. And there are certain foods that people are eating that are causing that inflammation and that scarring or plaquing within the arteries. So if you can remove that element, I mean, we're both chiropractors, so we grew up with food on our table,
Yeah.
pasta, pizza, bread, those type of things. Some people who have gluten sensitivities, it's creating an inflammatory response.
Yes, exactly.
So I don't.
Yeah, I was the same way. Yeah, growing up Italian
We're very
family.
food oriented.
Yes, we are. There was
Everything's done right there.
pasta and bread with every meal as a
The
kid.
Loud family, my family, we were called. We were like, get so excited about food.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
So we got about 5.5 minutes left. I want to definitely talk about tech neck. I mean, a lot of people out there are watching your videos on their phone and their neck is this bad position. So how can we create better posture for these younger people?
Look up. Look up.
Get adjusted. Number
Get
one.
adjusted,
And,
yes.
and work on certain these postures. One of the biggest things that I see with patients is they're actually sleeping on their stomach. So many people. And I look at back in the mid 1990s, and they had this high rate of sudden infant death syndrome. And we didn't know what was going on. And there was a small nonprofit group called Lying Babies on Their Back, okay? And they started in like 1994, but their first full year was 1996, where they were going out educating physicians and parents on the benefits of laying a baby on their side or back to sleep. Before that, like there was this old wives' tale where you got to put the baby on the stomach in case it throws up. You don't want him to be asphyxiated. And so, but that first full year that they were in place, they had 2,000 fewer sudden infant death syndromes.
Wow.
So you think about it. If you're sleeping on your stomach, first you have to rotate your head. Then there's a pillow. So it creates this abnormal torsion in the spinal cord.
Yep.
Most of your breathing, your phrenic nerve comes from C2, C3 that controls your diaphragm. So just that little change they made, and it was a small group of people that wanted to make a difference, and that's really how it happens.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'll have patients in my office and they will go over, I sleep, like you said, on their stomach, space is either to one side or the other, and correct, you're putting all that rotation, that extension, and
Lateral flexion,
lateral.
all three. It's a triple whammy on that spine. And you think about sleep, and that's another important thing, right? I mean, patients need to get 8 hours of sleep to revitalize and
Exactly.
refresh their body and just allow it to change. And if you're in this abnormal position for the majority of the time, it's not great for your nervous system. I'm not the first doctor to talk about it, but it's really huge in my clinic. I think other tidbits that we give them is these wallets, right? You see these patients that come in, they're sitting on their wallets. What do you do for them?
So actually, there's front pocket wallets that some patients. There we go.
I got it. It's called the back saver.
Yeah.
Well, there's not much money in there, but I mean, it is in my front pocket.
Front wallets. I mean, at times, like me, I don't need much of anything: an ID, a card, and a little bit of cash, and that's about it. You know, even if you are so, set in your ways of having that wallet in your back pocket, make it thin. There's so many people that have that George Costanza wallet, that thick wallet that they pull out with photos and expired credit cards, and you're just holding on to everything. But a lot of the times, that little bit can cause imbalances throughout the entire body.
In the last couple minutes, I do want to chat about you got to experience the mini lithotripsy device.
Yes, I did.
And I do think it would pair so well. It does pair very well with chiropractic and the work you're doing. And it helps reduce inflammation, improve circulation. You were a patient, you did it on your wrist.
Yes, I did.
What did you feel? What did you notice?
I will tell you right now. So right when I was getting the procedure done, this has always been, for one thing, this has always been a wrist that's been kind of just bothersome throughout the years with working out. But what I first felt, I'm not going to lie, you felt it.
Yeah, it's right there.
It was right there. So, honestly, as he held that on my wrist for, maybe even 7 seconds, it started at a high pain where I was feeling it, and it just melted away.
We should have filmed it. We should have filmed it. I don't know why we were thinking. We could have put it on your YouTube channel.
Yeah, within seconds.
That would have got 1 million views. That right there.
See, the goal in all practices is you want the patient feeling and functioning better. If it's
Absolutely.
a chiropractic adjustment, if it's using
The shockwave device.
exactly, that's what we need. That's a goal intended for everybody out there.
Well, I said it. I felt like there should be a type of practitioner that's doing your work in every major city. And I also think there should be one of our mobile lithotripsies in every big city. I mean, that's really been my goal. I love highlighting our superhero healing segment, and that's one of the reasons why we wanted to have you on. You're doing some amazing work out there. I don't even know if BJ Palmer got chiropractic out there to this many people. So, I mean, you're doing some wonderful work. In closing, where do you see yourself in the next few years? I mean, what do you see for Dr. Joseph Cipriano?
Well, one, I would love to train other doctors throughout the world. People need to experience this, and I would rather people not having to travel across the globe just to see me. If there are other doctors out there in different areas of the world that can offer the same style of an adjustment,
Centers of excellence.
Yeah, patients are going to get healthier.
I see that for you too. Yeah, really, really a pleasure. Thanks so much.
Thank you.